Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is Meshi with the Line Plans. Today we're talking about ring planners, and if you are not familiar, ring planners are definitely very close to my heart. It's not something that I talk about very often just because I end up just using it instead of like just using it on camera. So I thought that I would just walk you through some of my absolute favorite, in my opinion, must-haves when it comes to planner inserts. So if you're in a process of setting up your 2026 lineup, your 2026 inserts, and you're feeling a little overwhelmed, don't worry. Hopefully by the end of this video, it'll bring you some clarity of what are some of the inserts categories that are worth it, and what are some of the categories that you can kind of skip, or it will just kind of help you narrow in your search a little bit more. For today, the plan is that we're going to break things down into different categories. So first up, we're going to talk about day-to-day flow. We're going to be talking about some lifestyle. We're going to talk about some accessories, and then I will also mention a tool that I use, especially in the rings planner, if I'm feeling really overwhelmed and I'm trying to make a decision of how to narrow down some of the planner systems and things like that, so that I don't actually overspend. So if all of that sounds good, then let's not waste any time. Let's just talk about what planner inserts are actually worth it, in my opinion. Let's just get going. All right, so the first thing, the first category that I wanted to mention is this is like your day-to-day flow. These are inserts that you would have them on a regular basis. You would have them in your regular rotation. It's something where you would probably have, you would have the choice of buying them dated if that's like really important to you, or you can just end up getting them blank. Just for reference, this is a VDS planner. This is a VDS cover, and it's in a personal size with the 6 rings. I have been using this for about 3 years and I absolutely love it. It's like the softness of this leather will never go out of style, in my opinion, and it comes in like this camel color. Let me remove this. Okay, so day-to-day planning. For me, day-to-day planning, generally speaking, it involves my weekly layouts, and I get really picky about my weekly layouts. So the one that I wanted to mention that I reach for time and time again is actually the insert that I received. These are like blank inserts that I received from Infinite Lotus. This came in one of their sub boxes, and I'll show you why I love them. I love them, and I'll show you actually a filled out week. So this is what it looks like when it's fully filled out. I love it because here's your section for the day. I love color coding at the very top. You have a little section at the very top so that you can write in which week we're on. And I also love that basically you have 4 days just in 3/4 of the page, and then you have the other 3 days here, and then you have a little note section, and then your to-do list is down here, but your to-do list is sort of kind of speaks to what is happening for the remainder of the week. And then you have a little habit tracker down in the bottom, and then you also have your priorities. So I love this layout because everything feels condensed, but the main focus here where my eyes immediately drawn to are actually the dailies. And you have enough space where I can write out, and even in the personal size, I don't feel constricted by the size, where I can just kind of lay down all the information that is happening, highlight the days that are actually relevant for whatever reason, and add in information about like when it comes to like running the family. So that's basically the main reason why I love this. I can add like little highlights, I can add little decor if that's what I want to do, but it's just enough space, even in a personal size, where I don't feel constricted, but I also don't feel like it's so much space that I'm going to be spending like half an hour setting things up. So that's it on the weekly. The other weekly that I absolutely love, first of all, I just wanted to mention, if you're finding this video helpful and useful, and you're finding all of these different insert recommendation helpful, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't had a chance to just yet, because I would love to have you in the community. And if you're anything and everything that I mentioned, I will do my best to link it in the description box. Any products that I think would make sense, link will also be in the description box. Back to the video. This is from Noted. So if you're finding that like these two, if you don't like having your week in 2 pages, I personally do, but if you're feeling like, no, that's way too much, I need to kind of condense my stuff. The other one that I have been using, and I have this again, like from 2024, is from Noted. So the other company I wanted to highlight is Noted Co. So here, let's see if this gives me like a blank. Okay, here we go. I'm actually going to be repurposing this because I still have a bunch of them, and I don't mind this when I want to kind of condense things. So you have your little sections for the days, all like from Monday to Sunday, and then priorities are at the very top. Your little to-do list is here, and it's segmented so that you can actually check things off as you go. Then you have a little note section and a small tracker. So filled out, this is kind of what it looks like. And again, mind you, like I tend to write like for to-do list, and what I checked off, I don't use this little section. I always kind of have them to the left, but that's just my own preference. So I like this, that again, I can color coordinate it if that's what I want to do. I can add some stuff to the note section, and everything just kind of feels condensed, where like only the main things that I'm keeping track of. So these are like the day-to-day flows that I have. The other one that I wanted to mention is a daily that I have, and this is, so for daily, I'm going to go back to Infinite Lotus. I find her inserts just so subtle and soft. So I love the fact that I can do some time blocking, which it's super helpful. I can add priorities at the very top. I can add my to-do list and then what's happening for tomorrow. So I can subsegment my pages this way without feeling constricted, but like only this section is all about the agenda for the day and really writing out what is happening, what is going to be relevant for that day. I know that, again, this is one of those things that came in the sub box from Infinite Lotus back in the day when I was ordering it. Highly recommended. First of all, if you're on a fence and right now you're just trying to like feel things out and kind of test things out. So a really nice way of doing that is if you try their sub boxes, because a lot of these inserts that they create are actually available afterwards in the shop. So, you know, you not only get it at a discounted rate, but then you also have first dibs, right? Now, staying with weeklies just for a moment, and not because I want to give you like a full overview of like the different weeklies, but the other ones that I wanted to mention are actually, it's sort of like an oldie but a goodie, and I have them in here. I have them in my, I forget what this cover is. Oh, from Notique. This is something that not many people, I haven't heard too many people talk about this. I'm gonna start on this page and then move back. Okay, so this is a weekly layout that I bought. This is a weekly overview, weekly layout that I got back in the day. Again, this was from, I believe, 2022 or 2023. So that's why I mean, like, this is, it doesn't look exactly like this, but it looks really, really similar. So I'll walk you through what I mean by this. But the main takeaway that I want you to have from this weekly layout is that you have the calendar up top, which now this has changed. The main thing is that you have an overview of the entire week. So having like a small section that is dedicated to the page where you can see like what's coming up, and then throwing that into your to-do list and your schedule, to me, I found that helpful. What has shifted is now this whole section is now made into a task list. You still get a tracker, and then you get a note section. So the note section stayed the same, but the schedule actually changed into a tracker. So we're not doing hourly schedules. And then you have like a larger task list. So, and then this became a priorities. So, but I really, that's what I mean. Like it has shifted. And then on the other side, it's just each day you're sort of like planning vertically, essentially. I like this because you not only have space for daily planning, but then you also see the overview of the entire week. That's why I used to love this. And if you plan similarly to me, if you're planning like you need to kind of see an overview of your entire week, you would like this. The other one that I used to use, and Cloth and Paper still makes this. It was from Cloth and Paper. I remember vividly when this originally came out, and that what I will just pop a picture on the frame so you can see it. But basically on one page you would have from Monday to Friday every single day, similarly how you would have like your vertical layout for your Hobonichi weeks, and then on the opposite side of the page you would have 2 more days, and then you have like a large section, I believe it was dedicated for actually they left it blank. So it was dedicated for whether you wanted like as an on-to-go to-do list or whatever. Then you had 2 other sections where you can put that as next week, notes, priorities, whatever. So I love that layout. And I remember vividly getting like at the end of that year, they sent out like a full spiral bound annual, like full yearly calendar. And that was the weekly that they went with for that year. And like I remember just like loving that because it was so useful and so practical, at least for my brain anyway. But definitely having like a really good weekly and a really good daily, if you prioritize planning on a weekly basis. I really love having like an overview of the entire week. I think that it's definitely essential if it's something that you want to be able to check in with on a regular basis. Cozy Paper Tree has dated inserts. Cloth and Paper has like the weekly that I just mentioned a second ago, that weekly overview. They actually have that available as a blank. So at the time of this recording, just based on what I have checked on their website, they don't have that dated, but you know, if it's something that's super important to you, then obviously look for an insert that is dated. But I remember like loving both of these because I've tried them for quite some time before I switched out of this size. Now let's talk a little bit about lifestyle. If you wanted, beyond like taking care of, you know, like your weekly, your monthly, and your daily inserts, what would be some of the really good, fun lifestyle inserts that I think would be worth it? I'm only going to mention 2 just so that we're not staying here for too long. One of them has to come from Infinite Lotus. Infinite Lotus makes some of the best inserts when it comes to just lifestyle stuff. So I'll show you a few examples. Again, these actually came from their sub box, the cleaning routine, and I think that I'm going to be actually restocking this. Again, this one is blank, and I mean, like within the sub box, they will always send out blank ones just because it just makes sense. So you can write in the week, and then you write down all of the chores and then start dotting in which day it needs to be done. Now, mind you, like, could I do this so that I'm also delegating this out to my children? Yes, but we will talk about systemizing this a little bit later. And then you have weekly chores and then notes. And I believe it kind of repeats on the other side. Yeah, it's exactly the same on the other side. So you have back to back the same insert. So that's it on cleaning. The other one that they made that was also super helpful, they had a task list. So this is their task list where you can kind of write down everything. You have like a small little dot right next to it, and then you can write in a due date and then if it's done or not. Again, kind of self-explanatory. It's one of those things where you can add them into your weekly just so that you're not overloading your weekly, or you can add them right next to your daily, and then as things kind of come up, you add them as an on-the-go list. So I love that. They also had another one that I really liked. Those were the 2 that I really wanted to highlight. This is also very nice if you are, again, like really running the household just out of like your one system. On one page, you have your full meal plan. On the other side, you have an on-the-go shopping list. So on one side, you're planning out the week. On the other side of that same page, you can write out exactly what you need. You can kind of categorize them like dairy, produce, whatever. You get the point. It's small enough, compact enough. It's nice where you can kind of see exactly what you need to get, and then you can kind of transfer that to more like a tearaway pad or something like that, where, you know, you take that with you to the grocery store. So they're really great for like lifestyle related type of inserts. And for that, which is why I wanted to mention them, just because if you're finding that you are not sure, like you're kind of feeling overwhelmed of like, okay, what other inserts I might need, For lifestyle stuff, definitely I would stick with Infinite Lotus because they have been around for a while and they kind of know what they're doing. Now let's move on to accessories. I only have a couple of accessories to mention, and I have 4 different companies to mention it from. So for accessories, this is so old, but this was so great when it first came out. I wanted to mention Cloth and Paper. So this one is the morning mindset. So they had this insert, and I think I have the other version of this as well. So this is the morning mindset where it gives you like 6 different prompts. Like what value will I add to my colleagues or team today? What project will I work on today that I will be proud of us to be part of? So these prompts are great if you're really trying to hone in on like how to kind of make your day great. They also had this one. They also had this, which was like a monthly reflection insert. I love this as well because it allows you to kind of wrap up your month in a really intentional way. So how do you feel about the past month? Reflect on the highs and the lows and how you grew from them. List some of the things that you've learned this month and how can these apply to your life? What do you want to learn next month? Did you accomplish any of your goals this month and have you made progress on others? You can kind of condense them. You don't have to elaborate on all of them, but I find that if you're feeling stuck with kind of reflecting on your month, these are like just kind of quick little brain teasers that kind of get you going. If they still have stuff like this, I would recommend getting them just because then it will allow you to kind of close off your month a little bit more intentionally. The other ones that they were doing a really great job on was actually they had, and this is still by far my favorite. I wish that I actually had this so I can put it in here, but I don't have the right size anymore. This is the cleaning inventory list. Now you might not care about this, but because I buy like cleaning supplies pretty regularly for my clinic, this is awesome because sometimes I get that told after the fact that it's like, oh, just so you know, we don't have toilet bowl cleaner, or we need more Kleenex, or we need more laundry detergent, or like whatever. So I can kind of list everything out and then I can add a little reminder, which is really cool. So these are like the cleaning supplies, and I still have these and I still really like them just because, you know, because we buy this. As far as like if you wanted to kind of add in like, so if you have like your blank monthly or your blank weekly and you wanted like small little elegant dot stickers, I picked this up like a few years ago from May Paper Co. And look at the 3 different color scheme. And then I had the purple one. If she still has this, I would highly recommend picking it up just because they're so useful. And they're, as you can tell, these are like the monthly kits. So that was really nice. And as far as like accessories that you can really like add into your planner, obviously things like the spotlight, page flags from Cloth and Paper are really excellent. These circular sticky notes, these are from Papery Planning. Also love this. I love these colored arrows just because they actually stand out on the page. The other one that I still have here are these. These are also from Cloth and Paper. So anything when it's like a little bit more colored, it makes things kind of pop out a little bit more on the page, which is really nice. But actually their sticky notes are also really nice too. So this was by this really rose color one in Prosecco. Love it. This was actually one of my favorites. But for just like adding some texture to your pages, this is like their latest one. These are like the time blocking stickers. I don't actually use this for time blocking. I use this literally just to kind of add accents. But Cloth and Paper is really great for that. Infinite Lotus is really great for having like small dot stickers, and also for having stuff like this, like having like their little page flags, but then you can literally just add them anywhere, which is really nice. So you would kind of have to like shop around, but if you're wondering like which one has like great quality, they both have really great quality just accessories in general that are actually going to be useful and helpful. Obviously, you've probably seen me pull this out at the very beginning. This has been super helpful. This is like a really sharp-edged tweezer. This was from Cloth and Paper. I received this back in the day when they first released this. It's so inexpensive. And I have both, by the way. Like they send this one as well. This is just like a straight tweezer. This one has like a bit of an angle. I prefer this over the straight one just because I find that here I can actually like place things properly. And I'm telling you right now, especially for like small stickers, like small like dot stickers and like page flags, and especially like stuff like this with the numbers, they're so small that yes, you have some control with them, but I mean, I'll just show you one. Like it's tiny. Like, look how small that is. So, I mean, if you're wondering, you know, how do you have, I mean, like, see, there you go, it already dropped. So if you're wondering, like, how do you have more control? Like, can I put it down properly? Yes, I can, but will this make your life easier? Also, yes. So take that with a grain of salt. And now, when you're looking at all of these different systems, you might still be sitting there feeling like, last but definitely not least, if you're finding that when you look at all of these different things and you're still feeling overwhelmed and you're not even sure if you are potentially going to end up in the ring system or if you're going to be using a totally different system, or if it would make sense for you to stay within rings for 2026, well, I'm happy to tell you. So if you're finding that you have been really feeling overwhelmed when it comes to making a decision of what system works for you, like how to kind of narrow down like what works, what doesn't work, and all of that fun stuff, I actually have the last insert that I wanted to mention, which is planner. It's called the Planner Clarity Compass, and I have created this and I will just show you like what it includes. We have one insert that kind of takes a look at a snapshot of what you currently have and if you're going to be keeping it or not. You can put in what season you're planning on using it in, and then you can start creating a wish list. You can write in your pros and cons within that wish list of why you think you should go with it or not. And then you can do a quick little brain dump of overall how you're feeling and what is like the main priority, what is like the main thing that you're trying to fix, right? And then what are your essentials? So once you have that, we can kind of look at like really styling out how you want your insert to look like. You can get as detailed or as creative as you want with this, but here we're kind of looking at how do you want your planners to feel. So for me, I want it to feel very soft. I was looking for a leather cover. I didn't want my inserts or my system to feel very bulky. I want it to be easily accessible. Potentially Tomo River paper, but that was sort of the negotiable for me. I really love cream colored paper, and I added 2 different swatches of the cream colored paper so that I have that as a visual reference and I can see the difference when something is white versus when something is cream colored. And I wanted to have space. I want it to be spacious enough so that I can add decoration if I choose to. Now, as far as the color story, I naturally gravitate towards more earth tones. So that would be like your soft browns, your soft grays, mauve, burgundy. And I kind of used like some of the pens and highlighters that I'm naturally using anyway that kind of highlights the actual color story. And then I kind of wrote down like the system types. So for me, it would be the Traveler's Notebook, the Hobonichi Hunt, anything from Midori, Take a Note, and we can actually add this as well. We can add, we can also add in the WDS rings as well, because those are all my base fundamental planner systems that I end up using. And I want it to be minimal, aesthetic, but something that inspires joy and kind of keeps me creative and organized at the same time, because those are the 2 things that are really important to me. And then from there, you can go into the decision-making compass where you kind of break down what is the main purpose of that particular planner, and you can kind of break that down with each planner system. If you're going with one, you would only do this once. If you're going with multiple planners for multiple functions, then this will really allow you to visually see what is working, what is not working, what is the purpose, what are you actually gaining if you get that? What are you trading off, or what would be like the thing that you're compromising on? What is the cost benefit? So you can write down how much it actually costs, but I also kind of look at, if I'm buying, let's say, a Hobonichi Weeks, for example, I might have to pay a little bit extra for shipping, because the shipping cost has gone up from Japan. But then the trade-off of that is that the quality is excellent. So I'm kind of trading that off of, okay, maybe I will like reduce my system by one so that I can kind of compromise that way. And then what is something that I already have that would also fit that same purpose? And I can kind of do like a quick little brain dump just so that I can see what is working for me, what is not working for me, what is really like the problem I'm trying to solve, and what season of my life am I entering into the next year. So this was important because where I'm at today might not be the same life stage that I'm at in the new year, because things do shift and change. So if I'm transitioning from being in office to being more home, then maybe the sizing doesn't matter all that much. Maybe I don't need that many planner systems, or maybe I need to dedicate certain ones for certain purposes that I'm not dedicating right now, right? Like maybe there is a gap that I'm unaware of, and the only way for me to see that is if I'm breaking it down on paper. And last but not least, we can create a full budget tracker so that I'm not overspending, because I think that this is also important, that while this is a hobby, but we also want to be really intentional with our spending. At least I do. And I wanted to pay attention to what is coming in, what is coming out. And I can kind of keep track of, okay, what am I spending on covers? What am I spending on planners, on journals, on accessories, on pens? You get the point. So if you're interested in this, I'm going to leave the link below so that you can check out the full listing. It is very new, but I wanted to break this down for you guys because I think that this will bring so much more clarity to how to make a decision on what type of planner system and what inserts to use. And a lot of the times we get into this overwhelm because we don't have a sense of clarity on what our personal needs are, but we're being heavily influenced by all of the shiny things. So that was sort of my purpose of why I wanted to kind of break this down. And this is basically all I wanted to share with you. I would love to know how your planner lineup and how your planner inserts are kind of stacking up for the next year. If you have already made the decision on them, or if you're still kind of researching, please comment below and let me know. I would love to hear from you. And of course, if you have enjoyed this video, please make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I release a new video. Obviously, just you hanging out with me here, it absolutely means the world to me. And thanks so much for watching, you guys, and just keep planning, keep journaling, and I will see you guys again in my next one. Bye.